Okay, is this thing on? Is there anybody here? Hi, everybody. How are you? Welcome to the channel today. Don't mind me. I'm just changing sets. I hope you're doing well. Here in Calgary, it's a bit cool today. I mean, it's downright chilly today. It really is. I tell you, unbelievable. I was looking up the temperature outside. And I'm going, oh my God, it's a high of 55 today, and there's a bit of a breeze going on. Well, that means if you go outside in this thin air that we have here in Calgary, it feels downright chilly. How does that look? You see that's not bad. Hey, there you go, traveling with Bruce. Hello, everybody. Hi. Yeah, I mean, you go outside and you go outside right now, it feels cold. I got an adjustable table. Isn't this great? Look at that. Hey? Welcome to the big show here with Traveling with Bruce from wherever you are around the world. If you're a regular, you know what to do. Hit the thumbs up button. Say hi to me from where you're watching me from. If you have never been here before, you're wondering, what's this guy all about? Well, say hi to me. Tell me where you're watching me from. And let me know, what's your next cruise? Are you going on a cruise ship experience soon, a holiday? Tell me if you can. Tell all of us. Where are you going? When? What month? And where are you going? What ship are you going on? Where are you going to go? Let us know. Thank you all, everybody. Yeah, it's cold here, Calgary. It's really dark, cloudy out. Like it's going to rain. And I'm not complaining about the rain. Believe me, I'm not even complaining about this temperature. I'm grateful that where we are, we're getting moisture because this area of the country of Canada has been dry. I'm hoping there's rain to the north of us where they really need it. And wherever you are in the world, I hope your weather is normal. It's good. It's okay. You're fine. And all is well. Thank you for joining me today from no matter where you are in the world. I was just working here, just frantically getting ready for this show today because of the info I wanted to bring you. I was uploading some photos that I can show you, so you don't have to just look at this face for radio all the time. I don't want to scare anybody, and and we'll go from there. I got to tell you, since last week, and also thank you for you viewers last week because last week's show did very well. Last week's video did very well. The live presentation. I talked last week about tipping on cruise ships, and that topic got a lot of comments, and a lot of you were sending me messages and throwing up thumbs ups on that video. Right up until yesterday, I was still getting comments and thumbs ups for last week's show. I gotta say thank you to all of you who do that. If you're saying hi to me and you're giving me a thumbs up and that's all you're doing, it's okay. Let me know what number you are and just say hi. But thank you. What have I been doing since last week? I'll tell you, I've been working away here with my other channel, of course, Stock Markets with Bruce. I do all that. But I've also been working away on Jennifer and our summer vacay that's coming up, the one that includes the Queen Mary 2. I got to tell you, I've been having a heck of a time getting stuff done. Now, maybe... I don't know if you're running into this or not, and maybe it's me. I might be the problem. I don't know. I'll tell you what's been going on. You let me know. You think I'm the problem, or is it just the way it is nowadays? But I tell you, I was trying to figure out, first of all, that we're going to fly from here to New York. And we're going to catch the Queen Mary 2. But you don't get to New York on the day you leave. You get there before. And if you're going to go to New York City, I mean, come on. You can't be serious that you're going to arrive in New York and the next day get on a cruise ship and leave town. No, you don't do that. And at my age, I don't know how many more times I can go to New York City where I can walk physically and enjoy the sights. I don't know how much longer I have. I'm 68, going to be 69. Jen, same thing. Jen has 2 new hips. We're able to walk. So we booked a hotel near Times Square, in the center of it, and we had to find, well, I should say we booked. It wasn't that simple. We had to find a hotel to book. Okay. So what do? Well, I go to the old playbook, I go to Expedia.com, for example, and I surf around for hotels, and I kind of zero in my search, kind of where in New York I want to be. In this case, Manhattan, and then you look around. You know, you can do a map view of Expedia, where you blow up the size of the map around maybe Times Square in that region, Broadway, and it'll show you where hotels are. Well, okay, so you do that, and you find some hotels, and then you ask yourself, well, I mean, if you have an unlimited budget, you can, doesn't matter. You just stay wherever you want. Just book the plaza, book the you know book the book the Algonquin, stay in some of the most expensive hotels in the world. Well, that's not our case. I mean, we're not broke, but I'm not going to spend $1,000 a night on a hotel. So what do you do? So I thought, well, I would really like to. It would be 4 nights that we're looking for. 4 nights. And I thought it would be great if the hotel we're staying at coming to New York is the same hotel when we come back to New York on our Queen Mary 2 cruise back to New York. We'd have 4 nights again. And it would be great to be the same place because you're kind of familiar with the area. But the room has to be bigger than just 10 by 10 or 15 by 15 feet. You got to have some space because I am a YouTuber. I'm a YouTube creator, and I'm on the air every day, Monday to Friday, for my stock market channel. I'm here with you, and I'd like to do some editing work. And okay, so I need a little bit of space, and I don't want Jen to be sitting on the bed in our room, and I'm on a little desk, and she can't get up and go to the bathroom because she might be on the air, and I can't film anything. It's ridiculous. So okay, so now what? And my brain kicked in and said, "You need an Embassy Suites. That's what you need. You need an Embassy Suites kind of a place." But of course, you have to come back to reality that a hotel room in the middle of America versus a hotel room in Manhattan, even Embassy Suites are not going to offer you what they can offer you in Indian Wells, California, where we were in some really nice rooms. And then what I did was I thought, well, if I'm going to book a room, I better make sure I'm getting the best deal, the best price, and I'm also getting the best, well, let's call it perks out of the deal. Now, again, if any of you use Expedia, you know that if you're a member of the Expedia thingy, you can earn points for every hotel you stay at, and you may find that some of you, when you go and book a hotel on Expedia, it might tell you in the top corner of your screen that you have a credit of $28.15 for the loyalty there, and that'll be applied to your next hotel room cost and all that stuff. But if you do that and you book a room with a hotel chain, you're not going to get any of their points. If you book a hotel using a credit card through Expedia, you're going to get points on your credit card because your bank and you is one relationship and Expedia and you is another. But Hilton or Marriott or whomever won't give you anything there, unless of course you have a Marriott hotel card, Amex card or something like that. I get that. Anyway, so I went on to the Hilton hotel site, the Hilton book a hotel through us kind of routine, and I found the hotel that I was curious about. And I took a look at the rates of the hotel, and I took a look at the room pictures to make sure I could understand how big the room was and all that. And the good news is, on the room front, as far as the room goes, we found what we want, so that's fantastic. Is it the cheapest room in the hotel? No, that wasn't the point. It was the room that would work for us for space and yet be, cost effective. And we found it, and it includes breakfast every morning, and we're happy with the location. But I ended up paying for it through the Hilton site, which surprised me that I actually would go through Hilton rather than through Expedia, because I do happen to have a credit available to me through Expedia for last year's travels. But I decided, no, I'm not going to use the discount, the credit discount from my Expedia account on this. I'll rather book the room and get the Hilton points and use my credit card to book it, get those points, and be done with that. So, okay, so that took a long time. Like, oh, I was on this for over an hour, hour and a half. It took a long time. But the thing that got me was I was working on Expedia last night because Jen and I need we need flights. We have to fly from London, England, to Zurich, and then about 2.5 weeks later, we have to fly from Zurich to Hamburg, Germany. We have hotels and we have a place to stay in both countries, but in Hamburg's case, we're catching up with the Queen Mary 2 to bring it back to New York. And we're going to be there for a few days beforehand. And so I'm on the site on Expedia looking at flights, which again is very handy. And you can see the airline and the schedules and everything else. And I'm trying to figure out the best way to how do you get from the UK to Zurich and then from Zurich to Hamburg? Which airline do you use and timing? And I'm thinking, oh, we're checking out of a hotel in London to catch a plane in London. Then we're going to be in Zurich and I'm going to catch a train from Zurich to get to Zermatt where we want to get to ultimately. And then reverse, we're leaving Zermatt by train to Zurich. We got to catch the plane from Zurich to Hamburg. We've got a hotel waiting in Hamburg. And so here we go. You don't want to do this and that. Well, Swiss Air was the one. It seemed to be the way to go, although I did not go to Ryanair. You've got to do that separately. I didn't go to any other airlines. I'm not interested in a cheapo, mega discount economy seat flight. Again, those days are over if possible. And so I ended up looking at what's called I think they call it business class. Okay, we're not talking about big jets and lie flat seats here. We're talking about 2 seats instead of 3, kind of upgrade. But you would think that with that kind of an upgrade, your luggage would be included. You'd get a seat assignment because you're paying more, than the regular fare. And it would be easy to work. So I'm on Expedia.com, and for whatever reason, it as I was kind of figuring out the flights and I thought I'd figured them out and I went ahead to proceed to sort of check out to get ready to pay for it and nail it down, these pop-up things started appearing, these extra charges. They wanted the charges for baggage, and I'm going, I'm not paying a baggage fee for business class. That's usually all inclusive. And then I looked at that. The seats were included. I could pick our seats. There's like 10 to choose from, 12 to choose from. Fine. And then came to the area where you pay. And again, I hadn't done anything yet, but I'm looking at the area, and there's a new fee. Have you heard of this new fee? It's called a card fee. Have you ever heard that? If you say it real fast, new fee, then you might be insulting people in Newfoundland, Canada. Don't do that. That's not what you do. No. A new credit, it's a credit card fee. If you want to use your credit card, you have to it's a surcharge. $30. $30 surcharge to use a credit card. This is in Canadian funds. I thought, this is ridiculous. And so I put that whole thing on pause over on Expedia. I now went to swissair.com, their own website. And I went through the whole routine, and you got to learn how to use these airlines' websites. Everyone's different. What a pain in the rear end. But anyway, I figured it out. I knew the flights, kind of knew the departure time, arrival time, locations, and all that. I figured out the London to Zurich, and then the Zurich to Hamburg, and they got the dates right. And I'm looking up the flights, and they have the base fare available, and then they have the business class fare. So I'm looking at the business class fare, and it's the same pricing as Expedia. So okay, all right. But there's no baggage fee. There is no. It's included. You get a carry-on and 2 checked bags per person per flight. Well, we're only going to have 1 carry-on and 1 checked bag. No problem. Seat assignments included, of course. It's business class. What seat would you? So I picked the seats for both of us for both flights, and then it comes to checking out to pay for it. There's the card fee. This wasn't a thing that Expedia was doing. this is a fee that Swiss Air is doing. And it came out to about 30 Canadian dollars to use a credit card. I thought to myself, I can't get points on my credit card, unless I pay $30, and they're not the amount I'm spending is not near enough to justify a $30 charge with regard to the points I'm going to get. So I'm not going to do that. What did I end up doing? I could have used a debit card. I do have one of those, of course. No charge for the debit card. But then it offered me PayPal. It says you can use PayPal. Well, I happened to get remunerated from YouTube through PayPal. And so I thought, well, I'll use PayPal. And so I charged it onto my PayPal. It went right through, no problemo, all is well. And I ended up, as it turns out, Swiss Air's aligned with Air Canada. And last year, Jen and I flew Air Canada. We got a bunch of Air Canada points last year. Now we're adding more points to our Air Canada account on this Swiss Air scenario. So, okay, great. We're getting that one. That whole thing, 2 hours. That took me 2 hours. And I'm going, is it me that I'm slow? Am I the problem that I can't figure out how to operate simple websites, which should be, nowadays should be websites? What happens when artificial intelligence takes over? Am I going to be really in trouble here? That artificial intelligence computer going to take me down a road I don't want to go on? I have no idea. Finally, last night, I wanted to book our last major booking, which was a accommodation in London, England, for a 2-week time frame, because we're getting off the Queen Mary 2 in Southampton after our second cruise. We're doing a back-to-back cruise. The second cruise is all around the UK, including Ireland. And we're going to be in the UK for 2 weeks. And I've been debating back and forth, where do you stay? What do you stay in for 2 weeks in the UK for what we need? Again, if I were 30 years of age, 35, 40 years, and it was just Jennifer and I, or the three of us, Jen and I and Jen Jr., as tourists, and we're able-bodied, and we can walk hours a day and recover and all that. If it was that version of us, and I wasn't a YouTuber, and I didn't need the Wi-Fi, and I didn't need some workspace, then we could stay in a bed and breakfast. We could stay in a hotel that's very small and tight, but we'll make it work. But not now, not anymore. Jen and I need some space. I need a workspace. I need internet. I need reliable, and I am now I guess the problem with me is that I'm such an old fart now that I'm picky, and I'm getting a little finicky about what I will tolerate. And same with Jen. And there's no way I want to be in a hotel where we have these quirky steps, attic-type rooms with very high-angled stairs going up. No, that's all out. Those adventures are over. So I ended up booking us in a hotel that is very modern. It has escalators and elevators. It has wheelchair availability if you need it. So I know if you're offering wheelchairs, you are wheelchair friendly. So that's good to know. Not that Jen needs a wheelchair, but if her knee is acting up, we can always use a wheelchair. And we found a hotel with a room big enough to do what we need to do. And yeah, it's more expensive, but that's the way it is. I'll tell you, it was a search. I really dug through London everywhere. I looked at the big brand name hotels. I was thinking Hilton again because of the fact that I'm a Hilton member, but couldn't find something suitable. And we ended up with a hotel near the Westminster Bridge. I think we're going to be very pleased with this location. But I tell you, I cranked on that thing. I finally ended up using Expedia to book it, and I was taking advantage of my credit from last year, this credit that I've had. I couldn't use the credit on air flights. I couldn't use the credit on my New York stays. I couldn't use the credit for my Zermatt stays. I ended up doing that directly with the resort that I was dealing with because the selection that Expedia was offering me for rooms versus the selection I could get through the hotel directly, no comparison. Plus, I know the hotel, and we're going back to the same resort for the third year in a row. I know it. Um, there's something to be said about Expedia, but there's also something to be said about booking your own direct, you know, your own kind of booking. But you better have the time, and you better put in the time. But wouldn't you know it? We're having credit card problems. Can't get the credit card to work on the Expedia thing, and there's plenty of money in the card. Not a problem. It's ready to go. Couldn't get it to fly. I tried to get it through my phone. Couldn't make it work through my phone. I was going, how do I want to book this room. What do I do? Thankfully, at the end of the day, PayPal. I could use PayPal. And so I did that again. I used PayPal again. But no credit card points. But I did get the Expedia points. And so, just unbelievable. This weekend, I think I was on my computer working on this vacation thing for like 6-7 hours easily. And I thought to myself, a couple hours, you got it done. But no, not going to work. Anyway, thankfully, I think we're almost done here with our reservations. We've got our hotel in Hamburg, same hotel as last year. Very pleased, and flights in Europe done. Flights to New York and back done. Ship booked. Just a few more little things that we'll do in the next few weeks, and get kind of the things arranged. But my God. If you out there use a travel agent to help you with a complicated trip, and I admit my trip, this trip is not simple. We're not going to New York for a week and coming back. We're not going to New York, taking a cruise, spending a week in England, and then coming back. It's not like that at all. This is a 74-day Odyssey travel experience that starts in the mid-August, ends at the end of October. Covers a lot of different countries, a lot of different places, and it is at our choosing and our desire to do so. And so, okay, but if I had an agent working on this, it would take me an hour and a half to tell the agent what I wanted to do. I'd rather do it myself, to be honest. Even though it takes as long as it does, I think I'd rather do it myself. But in any event, never a dull moment, huh? Never a dull moment. Now, I want to ask you something today. I'm going to bring up a story today for cruising, and it has to do with not so nice an experience situation. I want to know if any of you out there have ever been on a cruise ship or on a vacation where the accommodations were not up to snuff and were really disgusting. Have you ever had a cruise ship where it was bad, or bad plumbing or leakage or whatever? Or have you ever been in a hotel scenario where you really run into something nasty? If you care to share it with the class, I'd love to hear about that. First of all, hellos to all of you who are here, and thank you for joining me this evening from wherever you are in the planet. It's great to have you all with me tonight. I appreciate you. What was I going to say here? I think I may have made an error tonight, which is so unlike me. I never make mistakes as a YouTuber. I have a perfect record on doing what I do here. But I think I may have made an error by not properly uploading the show to everyone, to let everyone know that I'm going to be on the air. Probably because, I know why. I was scrambling like a wild man to get this show ready for you with a last minute bunch of photography and stuff. And so I'm at fault. It's no one else's fault but mine. But thank you again for coming through here and being kind enough to throw this old man a thumbs up to help you to promote me. That's terrific. Okay, there we go. Thank you for those of you who have hit the thumbs up button already. You to promote. There we go. I appreciate that. 24 already. Fantastic. and welcome from wherever you are this evening. I appreciate it. 24 thumbs ups and counting. Matter of fact, I just gave myself one. 25 thumbs ups and counting. How about that? Even the YouTuber can give himself a thumbs up. First of all, Sharon is here in the house. How are you? Number 3 tonight. The author won't be joining us. He's in Vegas for the World Series of Poker this week. That is fantastic. I'm so glad to hear that. Robert Mailhout is here. Hello, everybody. Hello there, Robert. Ken Koreka from Saginaw. Ken and Jen are here. I should say Janet. Hi, Bruce and Jen from Saginaw. The temperature is a steamy 91. Are you kidding me? We're like 52 now. We're freezing over here. That's amazing. 91. Gasoline is $3.60 a gallon. Good evening, all. Jen and Ken, number 1 or 2. We're not sure. Robert, 77 degrees under a heat advisory for Waterbury, Connecticut. You Americans with these heat waves. Tom Henry, hello, everybody. At number 4 here, welcome, Tom Henry. Tim Bowman, hello there. Number 7 here from Seattle. It's a bit chilly and overcast. You're sending it over here. We keep getting this stuff. Rocky, I think I'm number 5. Welcome, sir. Kirk Brunson's YouTube and Facebook channel. He is here tonight. Hey, Bruce and TW family. Kirk from the Big Apple is here, and I'm at work on lunch right now. Number 6, thumbs ups. Thank you, Kirk. Tom Henry, send out the search dogs for Sergeant Schultz. A prisoner has escaped, laughing out loud. Robert, changing stock marks with Bruce to traveling with Bruce sign. Oh, okay, I'll do that. Thank you very much for that. Let's do that right here, and let's go over here. Make this traveling with Bruce after all. How about that? There it is. There we go. Thank you. See, a very, very attentive viewers. I love that about you guys. Same on the other channel. You guys don't let me get away with anything. Thank you very, very much. Where am I here? Thank you, Robert. Yolanda Jackson, cruise in August. I got a cruise coming up. Louise, hi, Bruce. I'm in the dining room on a cruise right now watching you. Hi, everybody on the cruise ship. Everybody in the dining room. How's it going out there? Hope you're having a good evening. Stephen Butler, number 17. Hello there. Tom Henry, my next cruise is 81 days away, September the 6th. Cruising with Chili Falls, who does 11 a.m. daily live shows as well. We cruise Boston to Quebec. Boston to Quebec and back to Boston. And then we're going to stay 8 days in Boston to see this site. Fantastic, man. That's going to be a great time. Kirk Brunson's YouTube channel. Looking at going at the Margaritaville at Sea Islander this August. Interesting. Ms. M. Hi, Bruce and all. Number 17. Welcome, Ms. M. Tim Bowman. At the end of August, we are departing Vancouver on the Koningsdam, that's Holland, America, for a 3-day cruise to Skagway, doing an overland gold country trip and Denali visit. We're spending a night in Anchorage. And then heading to Whittier to board the Grand Princess for a 7-day cruise south to Vancouver. It's a sort of a back-to-back that I put together. That is awesome, man. That is fantastic. Great idea. Tom Henry going to Boston from Richmond on Amtrak and then Boston to New York on the is it the Acelia, the Akela? I would love to have a new car for our trip, one of those brand new train cars. Traveling with Bruce, you can enjoy all the secondhand weed smoke on New York streets. You enjoy yourself. Thank you. Roger, hi from Jacksonville. Just got back from Switzerland. Right on, Roger. Louise, my earbuds do not fit in my phone anymore. My earbuds don't fit in my phone. That's odd. Jeff Dinan, good day, Bruce and Tiva B, number 19 from, I believe, Melbourne, Australia, if I'm not mistaken. Roger Holby, Roger Holcomb, did a circle of Switzerland that started at Milan and Malpensa, Emirates. Interesting. Tom Henry, my favorite place to stay is the Intercontinental on West 44th Street. I use IHG points for all my visits. Louise, the pool is broken. Volendam, Louise is saying, and I'm out of luck for swimming. I'm very disappointed. They seem to think it's no problem because seniors don't swim much. You might, I don't know if it's worth your while or not, but since you're denied that, maybe I'd go up to the concierge, the desk, and I'd say, hey, listen, this is a big thing for me. Being at my advanced age, I can't use your pool is broken. I would like to use the large pool in the sauna area. I'd like a pass for that. maybe you can get a free entry into the sauna. Now, that's not a swimming pool, okay? It is a thermal pool. And if you could pull that off, or if you could get a discount into there, I would take advantage of that because they have those thermal heated loungers in the spa as well, along with this thermal pool. I'd put up some squawk about that, especially if you're a frequent client of this cruise line, which I think you are. I cruise to swim. Right on. Roger Lugano Bernini Express, the Glacier Express, Zermatt, Basel, Art Fair, Bellasiona, Castles, back to Malpensa. Didn't that train used to do also? Shoot. Uh, in Switzerland. God damn it, Bruce! It was where they had the Winter Olympics in '76, where Franz Klammer, Franz Klammer came down the hill with the ski run. Oh man, I'm losing it. Anyway, let me know, Louise, and eat too, but I can't eat anywhere. But I can eat anywhere. Well, there you go. Tom, Chili and I also have a huge trip January, February, Jan 4th, Bliss, TA, to Southampton, and then so transatlantic to Southampton, and then Jan 2nd, Southampton back to Miami. Wow, look at that. Tom Henry, the 17 days between two cruises, I'm doing all IHG properties paid with points, Southampton, Winchester, London, Paris, and back to Southampton. Well done, Tom. Having fun here, finding good tours to see the sights. Nicely done. Debbie Emmanuel, hello there. Sounds like a wonderful time for Tom Henry. Tim Bowman, why do I keep thinking about this place in Switzerland that I'm zoning out on? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? No, no one's answering me. Franz Klammer, Moritz, isn't it? San Moritz. Isn't San Moritz part of that Glacier Express? Tim Bowman, we were on our last voyage on the Staten Dam about 3 days out of Vancouver. A leak developed over the bed, dampening the pillows. Eventually, we were moved. 2 months later, we were flying home. 2 months later, we were flying home. Last one. Tom Henry, thanks. Debbie Emanuel, how are you doing? Stephen Butler, good luck to the author. We hope he wins a bracelet. Ton of money, too. Tim Bowman. And for the fellow sitting to my left was a Holland American contractor, and had a picture of our room with everything removed and a trough to channel the water to the shower. A high-pressure water line had broken. Wow. Tom, any special lingo for a plan like this? Not a back-to-back or S to S. We have a March 31, 2025 transatlantic on the Epic to Rome, then one night overnight at the airport in Rome, and fly to Barcelona the next morning and board NCL breakaway for a 9-day Mediterranean cruise. I call that a dream scenario. That's what I call this. Connie Servino, hi Bruce and everyone, nice and hot here. Good for tanning apparently. Sharon, our next big trip is a non-cruise vacation, going to Disney World with all the kids. Oh man. Walter Young, I've been following you on your stock channel for 2 years. Soon to take the classes that you offer there. Went on our first Viking cruise and we loved it. Signing up for our second ocean cruise. What is your opinion on Viking? It is your standard right there. I have not taken a Viking cruise yet, but I can't find any fault with a Viking cruise whatsoever. I have viewers of this channel from the day I started using or doing this channel back in August 17. I've had a number of viewers go on Viking cruises, and it's tough to shake somebody out of a Viking cruise. Once you've done one, they do it again because it's practically all inclusive. 945 maximum passengers or something like 925, and a high cruise ratio, a well-run line, not an issue whatsoever. They take care of their passengers, Walter. I am happy as can be for you on that, and congratulations on your first and soon the second. Walter Young, I'm number 28. Thank you, sir. Tom Henry, Roger, are you back home now? Stephen Butler, Wednesday, I'm headed to Effingham, Illinois for the Moccasin Creek Festival 2024. Shiny Ribs is the headliner. A couple of dozen great music acts this Thursday through Sunday. Good times coming up. Ms. and Maple Ridge, a little cloudy and rainy here, and Stephen Butler, Innsbruck, Austria. Is it Innsbruck? Thank you very much. Yeah, you see, that's right. See, Saint Moritz, I think, is in Switzerland, and Innsbruck is definitely Austria, and you are correct. Innsbruck, Austria is where Franz Klammer won the gold medal in the downhill race for the 76 Olympics, which I believe ABC television covered in their coverage, and it was spectacular. It was absolutely spectacular, thrilling to watch. And of course, the downhill men's races has always been a big thing on the Olympic run. But I believe San Moritz, Switzerland, and Zermatt, Switzerland, is also on the line for the Glacier Express train through Switzerland. And if you ever get a chance to take that, you may want to look into it. But I have not taken that particular train run. However, from Zurich, Switzerland to Zermatt, where the Matterhorn mountain is, it's a beautiful train ride. It's a gorgeous, and it is stunning to see the differential in geography. When you leave Zurich and head south, you're really leaving out of town. You're in country, a beautiful lake cottage country. Then you're going through farming land. Then you're coming into the foothills, and then you're in the Alps. And you change your train at a place known as Visp, V-I-S-P. You change trains in Visp, and you're now 1 hour away from Zermatt or less. And this train doesn't go much more over 35 miles an hour. And it goes up a grade, a serious grade. And in many areas of the track, there are the two tracks with a middle ratchet track. So that the train is going up, and all of a sudden the power conks out, the train rests and stops where it is. It doesn't go backwards. It's fascinating. And it's also ratcheted on the way down. So if the power goes out, the train comes to a stop and doesn't just roll down the track. It's pretty, these Swiss engineers, they got it figured out. Since the 1800s, they figured this out, electric train travel. But the scenery is stunning between Visp and Zermatt. It is breathtaking. And you have to have, you're going to use your phone or a camera. How many billions of photos have been taken on that train ride is unbelievable. But the Glacier Express is 8 hours of this kind of windy through mountain passes and gorges and waterfalls and spectacular stuff near glaciers and all. It's another world. It really is. They do it right over there. Tim Bowman, in the spring of 2020, I put together a back-to-back in the Caribbean. The first cruise is on the Sun Princess for a week, then a week on the Holland America New Amsterdam, Western Caribbean, and finally a week a charter on the NA. Got me. You're something on something. Well, you let me know when you can. Fantastic, man. I love how you folks are so creative with your putting together your cruises. Fantastic. For Jen and I, we're doing 3 cruises on the Queen Mary 2. New York to Southampton all around the UK, including Cork, Ireland, where we're going to catch up with Donnell, back to Southampton. And then the third cruise is Hamburg in Germany over to New York to return. So, yeah, we're looking forward to that. New Amsterdam, staying on board. So you're just staying on the ship for the next. Got it. Thank you, sir. The NA is the New Amsterdam. Finally, same thing on the New Amsterdam. Got good stuff. Kirk, about to book a celebrity reflection cruise, maybe August and February. Right on, man. It's fantastic that you're getting into this, that you're getting so into cruising. Once you get going on them, it's just, you can't stop. They're just so great. Going cruising is a wonderful way to travel. It sure is. All righty. Well, let me tell you some info that I came across today. Okay, the reason I'm asking anybody out there, have you had a bad experience on a cruise ship? Have you had like leaky pipes in your cabin? Did you ever have your toilet back up? What did the cruise line do about it? Were you happy? Were you not happy? All that sort of stuff. The reason I'm asking is that there was an article, I think it was just a couple of days ago. I guess the world leaders got together for the G7 summit in Italy, and it was held in on a place called, I believe, Bari in Italy, Bari, towards the boot of Italy. Pretty place, gorgeous. Where in Italy isn't it really pretty? I mean, come on. But apparently there was a problem here. They were the Italian authorities. Of course, you have to provide security for the 7 world leaders of the largest economic countries on the planet, including the president of the United States. You kind of need serious security for that. Well, 2,600 police officers and other authority figures had to be housed in this area. And I guess they thought it would be a good idea to, instead of overburdening the resort hotels in the area, which maybe just didn't have the room, they brought in a cruise ship. And they thought, well, we'll bring in a cruise ship, we'll make it a hotel, we'll just charter the thing for the amount of time we need before the event, during the event, and just after, to coordinate it all. And I guess 2,600 people were supposed to be on this ship, which cost the Italian government €6.5 million to charter. Now, this would include, of course, the rooms, room keeping, meals, everything the cruise ship would be working for. And what they decided to do, or what they ended up doing, I guess, was they ended up chartering this ship right here. This might be recognizable to some of you. This particular ship was known at one time as the Costa Magica. And Costa Cruise Lines is a Norwegian cruise line working mainly out of Europe. And Costa goes between Europe and South America during from winter to summer and so on. And the thinking was, with the balconies there, you got, we can put up 2,600 personnel on the ship. Now, the ship is no longer known as the Costa Magica. During, I think it was during COVID, Carnival decided to sell the ship, and they sold it to a company by the name of Sea Jets. They're known as Sea Jets. And here is the ship sort of today. They obviously have repainted it, and it is now known as the Goddess of the Night. They called the ship the Goddess of the Night. I think that's a little over the top, but it's what they called it. Apparently, the ship is going to be run. The game plan is that the ship is going to be run as an adult-only ship for romantic getaways through European ports. And I don't know what other work was done on the ship or what have you, but obviously, cosmetically, they had to change the look from what it was to what it's going to be. Well, all good plans just didn't work out. Apparently, this ship ran into a number of logistical problems. Sewage was backing up in many of the toilets. Sewage was backing up inside showers. How'd you like that? Pipes had burst and were leaking. The air conditioning wasn't working very well. All kinds of problems with the air conditioning. And I'm thinking, these guys that bought the Goddess of the Seas probably have now figured out why it is that they could have gotten that ship at such a cheap price from Carnival or from Costa. Maybe now they know why Costa dumped this thing in 2020, 2021. They got rid of this ship. This ship sat at port. It was at a port for a while. I can't remember the name of the port, but I think for 2 years it didn't do anything, which meant for 2 years it began to rot from the inside out. Because when you don't operate a cruise ship on an ongoing basis, things start to let go. And this ship has had more issues than you can imagine. Now, they found the money to do a paint job on it. As you can plainly see from what this was to what this is. The bottom half of that ship's got a lot of paint on it. But whatever other cosmetic work or any other logistical work, they found out in short order when these police officers and security personnel, all these people with guns, came on the ship. Things weren't working out, and apparently they were supposed to be fed 3 meals a day, or whatever your shift was. The food was cold. The food wasn't very well prepared. The accommodations were less than stellar. The logistics of the ship were a nightmare. The Italian authorities have seized the ship. They figured out how to take care of this little problem. First of all, they moved a bunch of their personnel into hotels, and I guess they arranged buses and who knows what to get their personnel accommodation. While the summit was going on, they didn't have a lot of time to figure this out, but they figured it out. But this ship was seized, and this ship now is being held by the Italian authorities, and they're going to negotiate. They're going to negotiate some sort of a refund of sorts with respect to what was lacking here. And this is a nightmare. Not good. And the rumor has it now. This is getting more fun. It's possible that the ship is owned by one company, but that the ship was leased or rented from that owner to another group, which then rented or leased the ship, chartered the ship to the Italian authorities for this massive €6.5 million price. And it is now being suggested that there's a possibility that there may have been shenanigan type scenarios going on with respect to how much money was paid and who actually got it versus what was paid for what was provided. In other words, the term mafia is being tossed about as a involvement of undesirables with respect to the end game with respect. So, one group of Italians really put the boots to another group of Italians that are law enforcement officers, and now they've seized the ship. But of course, who owns the ship? Not the entity you're after, not the wise guys. They don't own the ship. The wise guys rented the ship and re-rented the ship and got a cut, a nice cut, I'm sure. I don't know. I'm just curious. I can't be more specific than that, but something's going on. And so who knows how long this is going to last and where the money is and how to get any of it back and how to track it down. I do not know. Anyway, there's something. Okay. Oh my gosh. That's really scary. All right. Okay. So the other news for you. Let me get to the other news for you, and I'm going to just double check here on a couple more messages. Make sure I'm on top of this. Thank you, everybody. Oh no. Tom Henry on our Joy back-to-back November 25, Miami to Panama City and back. We had an aft balcony. This had an elevated balcony to make it level with the door. This had an elevated balcony to make it level with the door for wheelchairs. Very, very interesting. There were a few boards. In the elevated deck that were not fastened down well. And I was worried about a trip hazard. I spoke to the assistant GM at a meet and greet on the first full day and was amazed by the response. The next day we had a crew arrive and completely rip out the boarding. They had to replace 3 structural arms, then replace all the clips and drill holes for the rivets holding the clips. Took them a day and a half to complete that job. Wow. Franz Klammer won the 76 at Innsbruck San Moritz 48 Winter Olympics. So San Moritz did hold the Olympics in 48. Roger took the Gornagrat Cog Railway. Oh, I've been on that twice and will be on it again this year. I will be up there for the 3rd year in a row. That is absolutely spectacular, that ride. If you've ever seen my you ever see my videos from last year, you'll see the Cornegrat and the year before. It's fabulous, absolutely fabulous. That's great, Roger. I'm glad you got that in. I hope you had a wonderful day up there. I hope you had good weather. Jen and I and Jen Jr. went last year, and Jen and I went the year before. Oh, both years, Jen Jr. and the three of us, 2 years in a row. Actually, that's right. Spectacular. We got so lucky with perfect weather both years. Um, Jen and I will be in Zermatt for a little over 2 weeks, so we will pick the day. That is the day to go in that window to go up again. Absolutely worth anyone's while to go up that if you ever get the chance. Roger, Tom, I'm home taking last child on Princess Cruise to Alaska. Went with the son to Switzerland, daughter last month to Mexico. Well done, Dad. Well done indeed. Yes, we took our daughter. We invited our daughter to join us for 2 years in a row to Switzerland, and I'm so glad we did. Really. Look who's here, Donnell. Hi, Bruce and all. Enjoying the show, and I'm number 10 tonight. Welcome, Donnell. I'm glad to have you here, buddy. We're counting the days to catch up with you. Hope you're well. Thank you for joining me tonight. Let's go further ahead on the next story of the day. This is a story that I've mentioned before, and this is what I'm about to tell you. For some of you, is not news to you. It's not new to you. For some of you, if you're watching live or on the rerun here, you may begin to notice quite a pattern here, and I would say that if this news that I'm about to share with you had been made apparent to my parents or anyone from my parents' generation in the 80s or 90s, we would have thought you were out of your mind, impossible, you got to be kidding me. But what I'm going to tell you now, I believe, is indicative of the state of cruise travel, where we are and where we're going. And I think what I'm going to tell you is going to spread. And this is unfortunate, but this is life itself. What I want to say to you is another article came out, a couple articles this past week came out, talking about more and more restrictions regarding cruise ship visits to various places. I heard this morning something about, I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, about Juneau, Alaska, and restricting the number of passengers coming on shore, the number of ships coming into port. Anyway, in Europe, it is really taking off. And here's some images to kind of give you an idea. Look at this picture right here. This is a photo from several years ago. There are many like this out there, where you see these massive cruise ships that just don't look like they belong in this picture. This is a classic example of what Venice was facing, and here's another image right here. You know, these massive monster cruise ships compared to the canals that were originally, put together in the 14 and 1500s and have been modified but are not really designed for this. There's another shot of Venice here. I mean, Venice has shut this down. Look at that. That is insanity. This is a photo, I think, from the last decade. I mean, that is complete insanity. This is how we as a human species and entrepreneurs of cruise lines who are out to make a buck, we've killed the golden goose. It used to be a very, very special time to be able to take a cruise to a place like Venice, when maybe one of these ships every couple of weeks would come in, and they weren't anywhere near the size of the four you're seeing up there at the back of the photo. Perhaps the ship on the far left, that's what cruise ships used to look like 20 years ago. And that's about as big as they should be able to be to come into Venice. But I mean, we're talking about Obviously, you see a Celebrity there, Carnival there, MSC is over there. I mean, these are monstrous. I can understand a Silver Sea or a Regent Seven Seas ship with 700 tourists, 700 passengers. Venice can handle that as long as the ship is towed in by a tow and the ship isn't churning up the bottom. But even there, it's just too much, and you've got these ridiculous oversized photos. Venice has basically out and out stopped all cruise ships from coming in. I mean, it's over. It's verboten. That's the end of that. Um, I mean, they had protests for 5 years before they finally pulled the pin on that. We have loved Venice to death. Here's another area here that has rebelled now. Palma de Mallorca. They are talking about limiting the number of ships coming in. You have Mein Schiff there on the far right. You've got MSC in the background, TUI in the very foreground. There's a Costa ship. These are all European lines. It's not that it's North American lines that are to blame, although to be fair, the Costa line is a Carnival brand. Mein Schiff, I'm not sure. That's a TUI overall brand. I'm not sure who runs that. I don't know if that's Carnival. But in any event, this is the problem here. Here's, Palma de Mallorca. We have resort hotels on the beach, condos within a few blocks of the beach who are owned by expats, many Airbnbs going on here, and look at the numbers. It is stunning. This is not an isolated shot. You're getting away from it all, really? Is this it? Look at us. We look like seals, landing on the beach there. Unbelievable. Palma de Mallorca is now looking to reduce the number of ships coming in. Here's a city that's already taken action, and this is surprising because this is Barcelona. Barcelona is the busiest cruise port in all of Europe for cruise passengers. They have shut down one of their ports, and the one that is closest to the residential area. Barcelona has shooed away 340 cruise ship visits to one of its docks and shifted it over to another area to restrict congestion in the heart of the downtown area. The bottom line is these places have gone berserk, and these cruise lines have just abused to no end the privilege. And at the end of the day, capitalists have tried to make it work that a mighty dollar can be generated, and for passengers who've taken these cruises and have gone to these locations, they've been given very good value for their money. Frankly, look at these ships here. You can be on these cruise ships in a balcony for $100 a night, $120 a night, and you're going to some of the most exotic places in Mediterranean with wonderful food and great service. We're talking, of course, third world employees on board the ships. I mean, these entrepreneurs that run these cruise lines, I don't care if it's a U.S. domestic brand that we're used to, if it's Carnival or Royal Caribbean or Norwegian or any of their offshoot lines. Let's be frank. We are on these massive cruise ships that are subsidized by European governments through the building process. The cruise lines only pay for the ships once they've been seaworthied. They pre-sell cruises for 2.5, 3 years before they're even sailing. They've got upfront money now from these brand new ships, which means they have the money in the bank to start making their monthly or quarterly or semi-annual payments, however those are working, subsidized interest rates to governments to employ ship workers to assemble these ships. The staff on board the ships, maybe the top 5% of the staff are from the Western world. The entertainers, the ship's crew, captain, first officers, well-trained, highly qualified engineers, all that. But then when it comes to the grunt work, the slaving of washing those dishes, doing the laundry, cleaning the decks, painting the outside of the shop. You know, and I know, where are these folks from? They're not from Pensacola. They're not from Cincinnati. They're not from Canada. They're from the third world, and they're being paid a pittance compared to what we would be demanding and getting paid if it were North American viewers, North American residents. Just take a look at a cruise on the Norwegian Pride of America in Hawaii. That's an all U.S. qualified crew, green carded workers. If they're not Americans, they got green cards, and they're all paid American wages with benefits. And you cannot get a 1 week cruise on a balcony for the Pride of America for anywhere close to what you would pay for a Caribbean cruise out of Miami, staffed by the third world. And so, hey, can you blame Carnival and Norwegian and Holland America and what? Because we demand value. We demand the best deal we can get. And these cruise lines are responding with unbelievable bargains. But the problem, the trade-off is volume of passengers. You got to fill these ships to the brim to be able to make this pay. Because if you want to earn a profit at the end of the day as a major cruise line operator with these mega, upwards now of almost $1.5 billion ships, you want to make profit on that kind of stuff, you've got to have 110% occupancy, and you've got to suck every nickel and dime you can get out of the people on board. Which means when you come into port, there's a zillion coming off the ships. And here we are with Barcelona rebelling as it is. Here's another port here that's rebelling. This is Marseille. Look at this. I think there's 6 cruise ships in this picture, at least. Let's put it this way, 6 big ones that I can make out are here, and there's room for one more at the very front there for 7. Maybe there's room for another one where that small ship is for 8. They're rebelling. These folks in Marseille are saying enough's enough. Our downtown is packed with tourists, and they're here for like a 6, 8 hours. It's mayhem. We got these sellers of gunk here on these pop-up wagons and hustling deals. And look at this picture. You notice something about this picture? You notice that on the far right, the people are in the shade. And if you notice at the very top of the photo, there's a base of a statue. Do you see that up there? Do you notice all the people sheltering in the shadow of that statue? The rest of them are in the sunlight, and they're hot, man. They are dying. But look at the folks in the shade just packing themselves in here. Marseille is not designed to handle that kind of turnover. Now, to be fair, Marseille has been utilized by more and more cruise lines as a turnaround port where passengers get on and get off. But a friend of mine did take a cruise from here on an MSC ship to come across to the U.S., and he was not speaking highly of Marseille at all. He was not giving me glowing reviews of the parts of the city that he was at, and he spent the night there, and he was not all that impressed. Now, this is just one image I have, and this is not fair to the city of Marseille, because it is beautiful. This area is gorgeous, but it's not gorgeous with too many people in it. Look at this photo here. Here's another spot. Santorini in Greece. Greece is having problems now. They are now talking about really making changes. Santorini, I believe last year had 1.3 million passengers get off of ships and come on to the shore. And this for some of you might look at that and go, "Oh, isn't that pretty?" Yeah, it's gorgeous, gorgeous ships in the water. But here's the picture. If you've been to Santorini, you might know this photo. This might look familiar to you if you've been to Santorini when there are 3 or 4 or 5 cruise ships hanging around. This is not what I call an idyllic little visit to a quaint village hanging off the side of a former volcano cauldron. Here, another photo here. You want to be here? Is this your idea of a Greek island cruise vacation? Um, I would not consider this to be worth my money. I would consider myself being taken for a ride and being dumped off in a very tight corridor, um, um, a tourist trap type place. I don't think I'd be happy with this. I wouldn't have that many warm and fuzzy memories. And oh, God help any children that are doing this. If you're a parent with 2 or 3 kids, oh God, this can't be good. This just can't be good. Here's another shot right here. Look at that. There's the ships. There's the people. And what about the 15,000 residents who supposedly live here full time? Can you imagine that they are praying for sunset every night so that you guys get out of here and leave them alone? Again, this is the culmination and the end of cruising as we've known it in many cases. This is where these locales have had enough, and they're now putting the heat on politicians to say, hey, this is ridiculous. Because if you're just a homeowner in this area, live in an apartment or whatever, how are you living a quality of life? You got to be kidding me. Of course, if you're a T-shirt seller or you're hustling ice cream bars or whatever, okay, I guess. But geez, if you're really a local, you can't be happy with this. I mean, come on, this is not. And really, if you're a cruise ship passenger, can you be happy with that? Is that do you consider that to be a great vacation, to be able to do that, to be there? I'd feel guilty. I would feel personally guilty about it, to be part of that kind of a crowded situation. I would not be happy with myself if I were caught there. Of course, I'd be upset at my at the whole scenario. But here I am. Look, am I guilty? Look, Jen and I are on a cruise ship, the Queen Mary 2. There are 2,800 of us on the ship if we're sold out. And I'm talking about the second cruise, the Southampton around the UK back to Southampton. What are we going to do? We're going to inundate a certain number of places. Of course we are. And I'm sure we won't be the only ship in town, and there'll be others. And it's unfortunate. I wish we were the only ship in town. I hope we're the only ship in town when we come to certain places. But I suspect we probably won't. And I know that we're spending an overnight in Liverpool. They can handle 2,800 of us. They won't mind us hanging around downtown and doing whatever we're going to do downtown. I'm sure they'll welcome the business. Edinburgh, yeah, they can handle us. The city's large enough that a ship of 2,800 isn't going to knock Edinburgh off its perch. But some of these other spots might be a bit much for the locals. It's not, we're all guilty. If we're cruisers, we're part of the issue. But then again, this is the business. This is the business of cruise shipping, and this is the new normal in cruise ship world. I lived in the Cayman Islands for a few years, and in 1998, 1999, Jen and I and Jen Jr. saw every Monday to Friday a bunch of cruise ships coming into town. And in those days, the big ships were 2,500 passengers. That was, of course, 25 years ago. Have ships gotten bigger in the last 25 years? Oh, yeah. In those days, we saw half the cruise ships coming in had balconies. Half the ships didn't have balconies back in 1999, 1998, 99. Now, fast forward, every ship coming into the Cayman Islands has balcony ships. I mean, you can almost not find a non-balcony ship nowadays. It's almost a rarity. But they're bigger. They're much, much larger in capacity. And the Cayman Islands, I have to decide, are we going to allow upwards of 25,000 people a day to come onto our shores? The Bahamas are wide open. The Nassau Bahamas has gone hog wild in modernizing their downtown port and relaying it out to handle upwards of 5 or 6 giant cruise ships every day. And you've got a government with, I don't know, 500,000 people in the country, not a lot of industry there. They've bought into the head tax. They've bought into knowing that if 4,000 passengers are on that ship, we're getting $28 a head. Whether they get off the ship or not, we're getting $28, and the cruise lines are paying us, and they're multiplying that every day of the week, 7 days a week in downtown Nassau, and you have to decide: do you even want to go near downtown Nassau on any cruise whatsoever? Of course, if you get off the ship in Coco Cay, you're paying $28 head tax there too. It's already factored in. Don't worry about it. It's in your fare. It's in your surcharges. But at least you're on a private island scenario, not in downtown Nassau, theoretically. Okay. Is cruising the getaway, relaxing experience that it once was? No. Is it the glamorous? Trip of a lifetime that it used to be? No. Is it a place where you go to exotic places and experience culture like you've never seen before? Not really, because when you get off the ship in St. Thomas, you get off the ship in San Martin, you get off the ship in Costa Maya, you get off the ship in Puerto Rico. What are the first retailers waiting for you to hit you up for your so-called duty-free shopping and all that stuff? The same ones, the same retailers. They've all rented the same port space to hit you up for the bottle of booze, some perfume and lipstick, and what else? And is that exotic? Maybe for the first cruise, but not after that. It's the same old, same old. And if you go to downtown, if you go into Old Town Puerto Rico, there's a Burger King and a Starbucks. You go to downtown Miami, there's a Burger King, a Wendy's, and a Starbucks. You go to downtown Cayman Islands, there's a Starbucks, there's Burger Kings, KFCs, and the Cayman. Are you really going somewhere unique and different? Not really. Sure, if you go to Barcelona, you're not necessarily running into a Starbucks or a Burger King. Then again, you might. But you're now amongst 20,000 to 30,000 others, as many as, depending on what day your ship came into town, and they're drowning in you guys. That's the bottom line. We're anymore. We as cruise ship passengers are not special anymore. I'm not trying to talk it down. I'm just kind of going into reality. The volume business of cruise shipping is its own worst enemy, and there's the reissue right there. Roger here took a trip through Switzerland. If you you want to go to Switzerland or Austria or northern Italy, the interior of France, Spain, Portugal, you're not a cruise ship passenger. You have to do it on rail. Cruise ship passengers you're relegated to the ports. Fair enough. We understand that as cruise ship passengers, and we enjoy the ship life. And you know what? I love ship life. I really do. But forget about the exclusivity of the excursions unless you're going to pay absolute top dollar for a 6-star cruise line where these ships can go to ports the big ships can't go. But you will now pay $1,000 a day per person, 5, 6, 7,000 for a week per person to get that experience, and that is what is the normal today. It is. Roger, Tom, I'm home taking the last child. Fair enough. We did that. I caught these comments. Thank you. Stephen Butler, in the World Series of Poker, when you win a bracelet, you win a lot of money. They have a bracelet for the winner of each event. Mr. C can take us all on a cruise if he wins the main event bracelet. Larry Blake, number 32, thumbs up. Sailing on the Norwegian Sky, August 12th, 9 days, Caribbean, fantastic. Sharon, Stephen, he's definitely hoping to come back with some big bucks, but he isn't playing the main event, just the seniors tournament. Stephen, I hope Mr. C has great luck and a lot of fun playing. Thanks, Stephen, from Sharon. Sharon, we didn't find much to do in Marseille during our 2019 Oasis cruise. Sharon, if I'm on vacation with that many people, I'd rather be at a baseball game. We had so much fun seeing baseball in Tokyo last month. Rocky, did you see any Mets hopefuls? Sharon, I don't think so, Rocky, but we were happy to see pitchers batting for themselves. It was kind of nice. Sharon, there's one KFC in Bermuda, but that is the only chain restaurant there. KFC snuck in before the regulations took effect. Yes, the Cayman Islands, when we lived in the Caymans, there were, I think, 4 KFCs. There's only 30,000 people that were living in the Caymans full time when we were there. They had 4 KFCs. They had 1 Wendy's. They had think, Bruce, was there? There wasn't a Starbucks at the time. I don't believe we had a Subway, if I can recall. I don't believe so. I'm trying to remember any other chain restaurants in the Cayman Islands in 1998-99. I don't quite agree. I don't recall. But the KFCs we recall, the Wendy's we recall, and very popular. I mean, popular. But yeah. When Jen and I were in downtown Old Town San Juan, Puerto Rico, of course it's America, it's the USA. So sure, well, we saw KFCs, Burger Kings, all that stuff. When Jennifer Jr. and I were on the daddy-daughter trip, and we were on the Norwegian Jade for our Mediterranean cruise, we were in Naples, and we had gone. Was it? Yes, we were in Naples. We had gone for a walk through some of Naples, and we ended up at a Burger King for a cool drink because it was so hot. It was air conditioned in there. We bought a big giant Diet Coke in the old Burger King. Absolutely, I do recall that. I actually welcomed it. I thought, oh, I know what I can get here. I know I can get what I want here. I want a big Diet Coke and a thing with ice in it because it was about 85, 87 degrees, but humid. We loved it. We loved Naples. So yes, Naples. But it was hot and humid. In any event, got that drink. There you go. So there you have it. Look, I'm not upset with cruising. I'm not saying it's over, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. Many of you are aware. But for us to get something now very unique for us, for some of us who've cruised a lot, we're going to have to pick our spots. That's true. My parents, their last cruise that they ended up taking was probably in the year 1988-89. And at that time, that was a serious dollar cruise because I recall my father was approached by his employer who had purchased a cruise for him and his wife out of Miami. And they had a family emergency a few days, maybe a week before, a few days before, and the cruise was out. They weren't going now. They couldn't go. It was too late to cancel, too late to get a refund. However, they were able to sell to someone else. And so they, the gentleman approached my father and said, hey, listen, give me half the price and you can go. And my dad said, Dad, that's a deal. Sure, I'll take that deal. And my mother and father were on at least a 7-day, maybe a 10-day cruise in the Caribbean. They loved it. They loved it, but it was 1989, so it was obviously a ship where they would have had porthole windows, the round windows. But for the two of them, it was a return to their youth because they had both come to Canada as my father is a 22-year-old, my mother is a 19-year-old, maybe 20-year-old, I suppose. In early 1950s. So my father came, I think, in Canada in 1951 or 52. My mother was 52 or 53, and at that time they were not in a ship like they were here. They were in the third class area of the ship, so it wasn't luxurious. It was utilitarian to get from Europe to Canada. Now the two of them were on this ship, all-inclusive meals, live orchestra every night, stage shows, Oh, they had a fabulous time, and now they were living the high life of a ship, where they had lived the steerage life of a ship, and so for them it was absolutely glorious. And they were telling us about how lovely it was to come into a port, for the towboats. They would be brought in along the pier, and then they'd be tied up. Um, and then they would go out for a tour or whatever. That was unique, and it was a one-off. And every port was very different than the next ish. Caribbean being Caribbean, and we heard lovely stories about this particular this particular adventure. But you know what they didn't come back with? Thousands of photographs. They came back with one roll of film, and they may have taken 12 photos, 14 photos. A few were blurry. Some came out nice. There were photos of the midnight buffet, where my dad would have zeroed in on a beautiful ice sculpture, and he would have taken the photo with a flash, and the background is dark, and the centerpiece was all lit up. So you didn't get to see the grandeur of the ship around this image. Again, it was film. It was cheap, a cheap camera, cheap film, amateur user, but they loved it. And but in those days, I think that cruise would have been $5,000. I think my dad paid $2,000 or $2.5 grand for this, but he knew he got a deal. But at that time, in 1989, $5,000 in 1989. Do you remember what you were paying for rent? Or if you were, if you were, you knew somebody that was just paying rent in 1989, you weren't paying $2,000 a month in rent, or even $1,000 a month in rent. Rent would have been $300 a month, $350 a month. $2,000. That's 6 months, 7 months of an apartment rent for a 2-bedroom apartment. That is serious money. Yeah, and that cruise was regular $5,000-$6,000. $5,000 to $6,000 in 1989. Today is what, 15 grand, 12 grand. It's a lot more. 1989 doesn't sound like a long time ago, but it is 35 years ago. My God, 35 years ago. My goodness. Oh, I got a daughter that's that old. Oh no. Anyway, there you go. Thank you all for being here tonight, joining me. Thank you for those of you who've been kind enough and able to hit the thumbs up button for me. If you've been able to throw that button, a little hit there, I appreciate it. 33 of you have hit the thumbs up button. Thank you so very much for that. I hope you didn't mind today's show. I hope it was all right. And I look forward to seeing you here next week. Jen and I are getting closer and closer and closer to our adventure for Europe this year, and we're looking forward to it. Fantastic. Steve in Thunder Bay, Ontario. Thunder Bay, Canada has about 15 Tim Horton locations. That is about one location for every 7,200 people. I researched it for our trip in August on your recommendation. Canucks love their Tim Hortons. Oh, yes, we do. I think there are more Tim Hortons in Canada than McDonald's. And the number one restaurant chain in Canada at one time was KFC. Then it became McDonald's. Then it became Subway. And I think it might now be Tim Hortons. Might be. Robert, good night, everybody. Uncle Bruce, we'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:30. You got it, buddy. Sharon, have a great week, everybody. Yes, the old Timmy Hortons, they're everywhere. They're now in popping up on corners in certain cities. Pop in, get something, off you go. Yes, quite popular. Drive-throughs. Tim Hortons with drive-throughs. More people in their cars than in the restaurant. That is true as well. Of course, that's the same with McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger Kings, I'm sure, but in any event. Thank you for joining me this evening. Have a wonderful week, everybody. We'll see you here next Monday for the big show, and we'll see if we can find some more news to share with you and some other memories to go down. Have a wonderful week, and goodbye from a chilly Calgary, Alberta. Take care.